Polygraphy. The term polygraphy was derived from the Greek words poly, which means consisting or more than one, or simply many, and graphene, or graphos, which means to write. It means that the original Greek meaning for polygraph is many writings. Polygraph, a scientific diagnostic instrument used to record physiological changes in the blood pressures, pulse rate, respiration, and skin resistance of an examinee under control condition. Thomas Jefferson, 1790, was the first person who to use the term polygraph to describe one of his invention, which could rewrite repeat words. Two types of polygraph instrument, conventional or analog. The old and traditional type of instrument being used in polygraph today. The second is computerized polygraph, a sophisticated state-of-the-art computer-aided polygraph instrument.
Cardiosphygmograph. It was designed to detect changes in blood pressure and pulse rate of the subject. It is also made up of blood pressure, cuff sphygmanometer, pump valve, assembly resonance control, and unit centering control, vent, and recording pin. Pneumograph components. It is designed to detect changes in respiration of subject. Its major components are the pneumograph chest assembly and recording unit. Galvanograph components. Its primary function is to detect changes or alternation in skin resistance of the subject. It is made up of finger electrode, recording pen unit, and amplifier unit. Chemograph components. Primary serves as the paper feed mechanism of polygraph machine. It is the device that records the different tracing by driving the paper out under a recording pin unit. It pulls or drives the chart paper under a recording pin unit. Analog machine parts. Pin lifter. Raises the lower parts to 3 position. Program pacer. A programmable queuing device for question and answer facing. Paper tear bar. Provides cutting edge for convenient removable of charts. Foam pen hold down. Keeps pen in place when the instrument is being transported. Compartment. Storage of all forms and subject connection. Stylish grouping provides neat professional appearance. Mechanical pneumo module. Recording part of technical pneumono channel. Galvanic skin response module. Recording part of GSR channel. Mechanical cardio module. Recording part of the mechanical cardio module. Paper storage receptacle. Power cords connect here. International standard design for AC cord replacement. Power switch and circuit breaker. Applies power to the instrument. Chart drive roller lever. Simple press off and then on again. Power analyzer. Automatically indicates whether wall outlets are properly wired and grounded for proper instrument's operation. Sphygmomanometer dial. Reads operating pressure of cardio channel. Pneumo 1. Pneumatic connection for upper thoracic pneumograph. Pneumo 2. Pneumatic connection for lower abdominal pneumograph. Cuff. Pneumatic connection for car channel subjects cuff tubing. Pump. Pneumatic connection for hand pump used to inflate the subject cuff.
Defoe, he wrote an essay entitled An Effectual Scheme for the Immediate Preventing of the Street Robberies and Suppressing All Other Disorder of the Night, where he suggested the use of the pulse of detect deception. Second is Angelo Musso. He studied fear and its influence on the heart, and his observations subsequently formed the basis of detecting techniques. Plethysmograph. He devised a scientific cradle which was designed to measure the flow of blood while a person lay on his back in a prone position as it became concentrated on one part of the body and then in the other. The, the third is Cesar Lombroso employed the first scientific instrument to detect the deception. This instrument is known as hytrospimograph, which measures changes in pulse and blood pressure when suspects were asked about their involvement on or knowledge of a specific response. He was accorded the distinction of being the first person to utilize an instrument for the purpose of detecting lies. The next is William McKinsey. William McKinsey is a famous English heart specialist who first described the polygraph machine as the ink polygraph. And the next is William Moulton Marston. The self-proclaimed father of the polygraph conducted more numerous tests for detecting deceptions utilizing the changes of systolic deception and develops his own method of reading systolic blood pressure. He also recorded the respiration and note the time of subject verbal responses. He also experimented with a galvanometer to record skin resistance changes and gripping device to record tension. Six is John A. Larson, 1921, developed an instrument capable of simultaneously and continuously recording blood pressure, pulse rate, and respiration. His invention was designated as the bread lie detection. He was credited as forerunner of modern polygraph, father of scientific lie detection, father of polygraphy. Next is Vittorio Benosi, discovered a method for calculating the question of the inhalation of to exhalation as means of verifying the truth and detecting deceptions of the subject. He demonstrated the changes in systolic blood pressure were of greater value in determining deception than and changes in respiration. Next is Harold Bart in 1918 determined that the respiratory changes were sign of deception and concluded that systolic pressure changes are valuable in determining deception. The next is Luigi Galvani, 1791, an Italian psychologist who developed the galvanic skin reflex, the GSR, reflected emotional changes by measuring changes in person's skin resistance to electricity. The next is Sticker. In 1895, he made the first galvanograph for detecting deception based from the work of his predecessor and introduced the method of detecting from the galvanic impression on the chart tracing. He worked on the influence and relation of the sweat glands to skin resistance. And next is Viragat. In 1907, he was the first one to use the term psychogalvanic reflex. He believes that the electrical phenomenon is due to the activity of sweat glands. Next is Richard O. art there. He developed an improvised polygraph machine with two galvanic skin resistance. Next is Clive Baxter. 1960, he created the numerical scoring on the polygraph chart and standard. Leonard Keeler. In 1925, an American psychologist invented a more satisfactory instrument than the one used by Larson. Later on, Keeler made additional changes in the
During the polygraph examination, the person being tested is typically asked a series of questions, including the controls questions and relevant questions related to the specific issue under investigation. Then, the examiner will going to analyze the psychological responses which being recorded during the questioning to determine if there are significant changes that indicate deception.
The Psychology of Lying by Anel Thomas et al. Lying emerges from the self-indulgent nature of humans to avoid pain and to seek pleasure. We as human beings not only lie for our personal gains, but also for the gains of others as well. It is known fact how telling lies is emotionally, psychologically, and physiologically draining. Systematic detailed information was depicted about types of lying along with providing an overview of convergence and divergence. Lying refers to making a false statement to deceive others intentionally, often for some form of personal gain. It has been part of our everyday life and we have casually normalized this behavioral response in communicating with others. Research also say that it is a consistent feature of human social behavior. Deceiving is generally viewed as emotionally taxing and morally wrong. We lie for various reasons, often to avoid a situation and escape from reality. We're afraid to face what's coming for us and deceive ourselves to get away with it. So there are four broad categories of liars. So first is occasional liars, are those people who tend to lie rarely, only when it is needed. But whenever they lie, they are distressed by their action and feel guilty and tend to seek forgiveness. They are imperfect but are often respected at being humble to at least admit their fallacy. Second is the frequent liars, are people who lie in every way they can and will not even care to cover up for their lies. Everyone is aware of the fact that they are liars, therefore they tend to have very few friends. Another type called as smooth liars are extremely skilled people. Even when they have bad reputation of being liars, they are cunning that they would make other people believe them. Fourth type are the compulsive liars. They tend to lie even when it is not required for them to lie. They tend to lie even in the situations where truth would be more appropriate than lies. They spend an obstructive amount of time covering up for their lies that would also allow them to be shielded against all the subsequent lies. It is said that they have some kind of dependency to lying. On the other hand, pathological liars also tend to lie compulsively and they don't have a clear motive. So in conclusion, we focus on how lying is part of our social as well as our day-to-day life. We all indulge in some kind of lying quite often. We also cover the reason behind some people develop a habit of lying. Predominantly, the theory of lying suggests that lying is an innate nature as we move towards achieving our needs. In order to achieve these levels and to prevent the obstacle from coming way to our need satisfaction, we make statements which may be not true. Lying becomes pathological when it adopts a destructive side to it. Either it harms the person who's lying or to whom they are lying to. We lie in close as well as casual relationship and sometimes to our own selves.
So I am the next reporter. I am Rinaldo Tolentino Digal. So the nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is the one responsible for regulating mechanism that corrects the slightest deviation from a particular standard within very fine limits. Sleeps, oxygenation of the blood, temperature, and levels of potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and all the essential chemical substances that maintain brain and its central controls is in the hypothalamus. So, a group of nerve cells of a brain that reflexes those that we cannot control consciously, such as heartbeat, pulse rate, increase and decrease in the blood pressure, and the expansion of constrictions of arteries are governed by the autonomic nervous system. When one of the senses detects a threat of our well-being, it sends a signal to the autonomic nervous system, which activates its sympathetic division regardless whether threat in a physical or psychological. Next topic is the general uses of polygraph. So, in polygraph testing, the receptor is the ear of the subject which is received threatening question or stimulus from the polygraph. So, the stimulus is transferred from the ears via sensors neurons into the brain where the hypothalamus analyzes, evaluates, and resolves the particular questions. It makes the decision for the subject as to whether it's threatening situation. If affirmative, the hypothalamus immediately activates the sympathetic subdivision and autonomic nervous system. So, when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, it immediately prepares the body for the fight or flight situation. So, by causing the adrenal glands to secrete hormones known as epinephrine and norepinephrine. So, the blood will be distributed to those areas the body where it is most needed to meet the emergency. So, such as the brain, the largest group. So, constrict the body, certain parts of the body to constrict. Therefore, it follows to establish the chemical balance of the body. So, thank you. General purposes of using polygraph: security risk, leakage, inform intelligence, and counter-intelligence. In my own opinion, the uses of polygraph testing for pre-employment screening is even more complicated because it involves inferences about future behavior on the basis of information. So, about past behaviors that may be quite different. For example, of the types of questions is: does past use of illegal drugs, of lying, or about such as use of polygraph tests predict the future of spying. So, second is the criminal law infraction. They are used in investigation of specific events. For instance, in criminal cases, although there are many restrictions on the use of polygraph results. In courts, they are often used to help direct focus criminal investigations. For example, a man who is convicted by murder, so robbery or theft or rape or etc. She is conducting screening polygraph tests to investigate her. She or he is innocent or not.